Part 40. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 407. It's 3 o'clock. Mrs. Lin's crying sound was high-pitched and soft, and the passers-by stopped curiously. After a while, many people gathered around the cemetery. At this moment, Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe understood what was going on with the old man and the old lady. By telling everyone the truth in this way, they simply wanted to direct the pressure of public opinion on them. If they were Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe in the past, the tricks of the old man and the old lady would probably not work, but now, they are already the lucky ones envied in the hearts of the villagers, so everyone looks at them naturally. Different. Sure enough, some people in the crowd began to talk to Mrs. Lin, the old man, and felt that it was really not easy for them to raise Lin Baohe and marry him when they had 3 children. Even if the couple left some belongings at that time, what use would it be? In such a bitter age, no one can bear to open their mouths. Baohe, Yulan, please help your parents up, it's not easy for them, they are so old, hey. Yeah, a lot of old people, come here and kneel and cry, if you hurt your body, you will really feel sorry for their kindness to you. Baohe, don't blame them, the fingers are not the same length, how can the 4 children wait for the same schedule? No matter who it is difficult to be closer to other people's children than to their own children. This is connected by blood. That is, if they threw you away at that time, you would have died a long time ago. Read more, and there will be no complaints. Alas! What a crime, such an old age. Alas! When the direction of public opinion was all tilted to their side bit by bit, old man Lin and Mrs. Lin drooped their heads. There is an unconcealable smugness in his eyes. They knew it would be successful. Glancing quietly, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan, who were standing on the side blankly, the old couple put more effort into their performance. When Luo Gangshun and Fat Ant got the news and ran over, the cemetery was already surrounded by people on the inner 3 floors and the outer 3 floors. Squeezing into the crowd, I saw Mrs. Lin crying, howling, and kowtowing to the small mound, while Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan looked completely bewildered. Yes. Such shamelessness. It's no wonder that ordinary people are not deceived. If the 2 of them hadn't known all the ins and outs of the matter, they might have felt that Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan were a little hard-hearted, and that when they lived well, they would forget all about their past kindness. No matter how the old couple of the Lin family treat them, what cannot be vetoed is that he was indeed raised by the old couple of the Lin family. One of the most critical factors is that the belongings left by Lin Baohe's parents cannot be disclosed, as long as this is not revealed. Almost no one is mistaken. If only it had been said. Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan would never want to stay in Dalian village again. Of course, even Chu Xiao's grandma, Xiaolin village, couldn't stay anymore. It's not that I dare not say it because I am afraid that everyone will snatch it or miss it, but if you say it, you must hand it in, because of Lin Baohe's temperament. How could he be willing to bite the only relic of his parents? Old man Lin and Mrs. Lin dared to quarrel precisely because they understood Lin Baohe's axis. I also understand Zhao Yulan's smoothness. And they seem unable to explain to Lin Baohe and his wife now. The matter fell into a stalemate like this, and what the 2 of them could do was to stand beside Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan. Yang Aihua was also standing outside the crowd. The current scene made her previous decision shaken again. She admitted that she was a selfish mother. For the sake of her children, she could only choose the side that was beneficial to her. Don't cry like cats and rats here, Lin Baohe yelled suddenly, startling both old man Lin and Mrs. Lin, and they both stopped talking unanimously. Having said so much, I just want to ask you one question, why didn't you add a handful of soil to my parents' grave after all these years? They died to save your son, whether they were saved or not, you cannot deny the fact that they died for you. What are you talking about? I am afraid that I will not kiss you if I know. If you want to, it is okay to secretly add shovel, right? But, have you done it? How do you know we didn't come to add soil? Mr. Lin looked at him confidently. Every year on the anniversary of their death, your mother and I will come to burn paper and go to their graves. We also want to give them the grave, but, do we dare? What would others think if they saw it? It was your mother and I who reported the case back then. We have never been the kind of people who are enthusiastic about everyone. If we were so enthusiastic, who would believe it? If Chu Xia was here, I would definitely say something. You are quite self-aware. Zhao Yulan's face was flushed with anxiety, but she couldn't think of a solution for a while. Both she and Lin Baohe underestimated the shamelessness of the old couple of the Lin family. They just realized that she and Lin Baohe both wanted face, so they deliberately used this method, shock them in front of everyone. If they don't care about the Lin family's affairs in the future, they will always bear the reputation of being ungrateful. If they do, wouldn't the old couple be just as happy? There was a commotion in the crowd, and Lin Baojuan squeezed in. Father, mother, don't force the second brother and the second sister-in-law. Lin Baojuan stepped forward to pull the old couple. Get out of here, Mrs. Lin threw her away. I don't have a girl who eats everything like you. I'm good to a dog, and the dog knows how to wag its tail at me. How about you? Mother, we are now in front of my uncle and aunt's grave. Lin Baojuan pointed to the sky as she spoke, and the old lady Lin's opened mouth immediately closed. Father, mother, you go back. The second brother and the second sister-in-law are going to visit their uncle and aunt's grave. It's not good to keep bumping like this. Lin Baojuan forcibly pulled Mrs. Lin and Mrs. Lin out. After a while, the surrounding crowd dispersed completely. Luo Gangshun and Fat Ant squatted in front of the grave with Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan, setting up the dishes, burning paper, kneeling down, and kowtow. When it was about to end, Grandpa Dagong and Chen Jiangxin also came, as well as several villagers who had a good relationship with Lin Baohe and his wife. They all rushed over together. They got the news. I came here specially to support Lin Baohe. Uncle, the moment he saw Grandpa Dagong, Lin Baohe immediately collapsed. Weeping like a child and falling down in front of the grave. What are they going to do to be reconciled? Are they not afraid of retribution if they say such things in front of my father and mother's grave? How could they come to reason with me so confidently? How could they set me up so confidently without conscience for so many years? Chu Xia is my lifeline. Anyone who dares to bully Chu Xia, I will kill him. No matter who it is, they can't bully Chu Xia. Until we got home. Lin Baohe was in a trance. Zhao Yulan was terrified, so she discussed with Aunt Fat whether she bumped into something while going to the grave, and should she find someone who knows how to deal with it. At this time, it is very powerful to combat feudal superstition. If Lin Baohe's situation is not right, Zhao Yulan would not dare to have such thoughts. Aunt Fat believed this more or less. Just look at Lin Baohe's expression. I felt really fascinated, so I said, Aunt Lu in my natal village is quite smart. I'll go invite her, just to know if she is at home. There used to be such people in every village. Later, most of them were killed, and the few who remained were usually quite busy. I'm fine. Lin Baohe sighed faintly. Sitting up, I just can't figure it out. After all these years, they are not relatives. They shouldn't be enemies, right? Luo Gangshun came in from the outside, his face ashen. What's wrong? Aunt Fat asked him. It's outrageous, Luo Gangshun snorted coldly, and waved his hands again. I'm fine, Baohe, are you feeling better? By the way, you haven't told your father-in-law about this, or, now go to them and talk about it, and let them help with ideas. Do you think he can move like this? Fat Ant gave Luo Gangshun a blank look. It's just a bad idea. You go to Xiaolin village by bike, tell your in-laws about Baohe, and let them help come up with ideas. All right, Luo Gangshun nodded, got up and walked out. Lin Baohe's legs have not recovered yet. Today he knelt in front of the grave for so long and was too sad. Right now, his whole body is in pain. All of a sudden fell back. Zhao Yulan's tears fell like beads with a broken thread. Baohe, you, me, and Chuxia, don't be silly. If something happens to you, what will Chuxia and I do? I'm fine. Lin Baohe looked at her weakly and smiled. Maybe I just got a little cold. I'm fine. I'll be fine after a night of sleep, and I'll make amends to my father-in-law and mother-in-law when I get better. You, take care of yourself first, don't worry about what you have. Zhao Yulan went to the Kong and stretched out the quilt, covered him tightly, and looked at the fat ant. Xiang, sit down for a while, I'm going to make some ginger soup for him. I still make noodles at home, go back and have a look first. You go to my house for dinner tonight, I will eat big buns stuffed with cabbage. Fat ant said as she walked out. At the door, she met Lin Baojuan, who was in a hurry, and she grabbing each other. How about the old couple? It's not hard for you, is it? Lin Baojuan smiled wryly. You know what kind of temper they have, how can they be nice to me? They were nice to me before because they were afraid that I would tell the truth. Why is there any need to pretend now? Settle accounts with me and ask me to return them the benefits I have gained over the years, saying that I owe them the money for raising them. If I don't pay them, I will not be my daughter in the future. How can there be such parents in the world? Fat Ant shook her head. Go in and have a look, your brother is not feeling well, and your sister-in-law is making ginger soup for him. When Lin Baojuan entered the room, Lin Baohe was already asleep. She stretched out her hand and shouted anxiously, Sister-in-law, sister-in-law, my brother's forehead is so hot. Zhao Yulan entered the room in a panic, and stretched out her hand to try it out, but it wasn't true. Lin Baohe's forehead was hot, and she ran out anxiously, Baojuan, look at your brother, I'll go find Dr. Zhao. Surprised by the number on the thermometer, Dr. Zhao's eyes widened instantly. Yulan, I'll give Baohe a small needle and rush him to the county hospital. The fever is so severe that he dare not wait at home. If his brain burns out, he will be in trouble. It just so happened that Luo Gangshun came back with Zhao Yushan at this time. Hearing what Dr. Zhao said, he quickly got into a bullock cart and took Lin Baohe to the Hunky commune first, and asked Zhao Yulan to find his second uncle, Mrs. Zhang, to borrow a jeep from the commune to take Lin Baohe to the commune. County hospital. Of course, I borrowed Zhang directly, otherwise no one would drive. That night, Lin Baohe was admitted to the county hospital with acute pneumonia. According to the doctor, if it takes another 2 hours at night, it will be dangerous. Although the extent of this danger has not been specifically stated, everyone knows that it is definitely not a good thing after thinking about it. Zhao Yulan stopped Lin Baojuan and Fat Ant's hands, her lips trembling, she didn't know what to say. During the process, Luo Gangshun had already told Mrs. Zhang about Lin Baohe's life experience, and the other party sighed, saying it's no wonder his wife kept saying that the younger sister's parents-in-law were unreliable, so that was the case. At around 2:20 in the middle of the night, Lin Baohe finally woke up from his lethargy, and Zhao Yulan quickly took a thermometer, and retreated when he arrived. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 408. One more. Scared you? Lin Baohe smiled weakly at his worried wife who was sitting on the bed and holding his hand. Don't worry, I'm just in a hurry, and I'll be fine once it passes. Stop talking, sleep a little longer. Zhao Yulan wiped away the tears in the corners of her eyes, and put on a smiling face that looked like she was crying. Lin Baohe fell asleep again. At this time, Luo Gangshun called Dr. Cheng over. Doctor. Zhao Yulan quickly stood up, he just woke up, and now he fell asleep again. His temperature is high. Dr. Chen nodded, looked at Lin Baohe's face carefully, put the stethoscope on his chest and listened carefully for a while, and breathed a sigh of relief. The patient's condition has improved, and the fever will gradually subside. Please forgive me when he wakes up. Forgive him, medicine does not heal people's hearts. Thank you, Dr. Zhao Yulan expressed her gratitude sincerely. I'm sorry to trouble you for running back and forth in the middle of the night. This is my job, as it should be. Dr. Cheng turned to look at the men standing aside. Call me immediately if the patient has any abnormalities. Yes, several people responded quickly and sent Dr. Cheng out of the ward. Seeing that the time was almost 3 o'clock in the morning, Zhao Yulan looked at the few people who were sitting on the side and said, Brother, second brother-in-law, Gangshun, Shaxiang, Baojuan, you all go back. As long as Bao he has me to take care of you. I'll stay with Yulan as company. You guys should go back. And Fat looked at them. Bao he's illness is just a cure, and with me and Yulan, you can get back to work. If you all stay here, I must be in a hurry when Bao he wakes up. Lin Baojuan was in a hurry to say something. She hurriedly said, Baojuan, you go back too. There are old people and children at home. You have to go back to make arrangements anyway, and come back later, okay? After hesitating for a while, Lin Baojuan nodded, okay. Zhao Yulan smiled gratefully at Fat Ant. Only if she really regarded her and Lin Baohe as her own, would she take the initiative to make such an arrangement. This friend. There is really no point. If it was arranged by her, others would think that she didn't want to bother others, so they arranged it like this. On the contrary, they would feel embarrassed to leave. It would be much better to have the Fat Ant come forward than her own. After all the people left, there were only 2 people left in the room guarding Lin Baohe. There are 5 beds in the ward, but currently there is only 1 patient, Lin Baohe. Zhao Yulan pushed the Fat Ant, tea fragrance. You can lie on any bed for a while, and I will just watch him. No, I can't sleep even if I lie down. Let's talk about it. This is a hospital bed, all sterilized. I don't dare to lie around. The Fat Ant lowered her voice as she said. Didn't my mother go to the town health center 1 year? My sister-in-law accompanied me to the bed, and she was too sleepy at night. I just lay down on an empty bed for a while, and the nurse happened to see it. I forced her to change the bed sheet. Washed and scolded, that embarrassing, oh. Then you can stay with me. Zhao Yulan sighed. In this life, I really don't know when and what will happen, alas. Thinking about it, it's a good thing. After a pause, the Fat Ant said, why did your face look so gloomy when you just went back? Oh, the old man and old lady, aren't they always in the house? Sit down. This time people are finally willing to leave the house. The old couple sat outside your house with a small bench and didn't make a sound. Anyone who asked them from there would say that they were worried that you would not recognize them, and wanted to see more. One glance is one glance. Did you say you did this? Is this cursing themselves or cursing you? If Gangshun hadn't seen it and found a few people to drag them back, they would still be sitting there when we sent Baohe to the hospital. I'm telling you these things just to let you know what's going on in your heart. This old couple is shameless. When you have time, you should try to persuade Baohe not to let him take it to heart. You said it's uneconomical to make yourself angry for such a person, isn't it? If you want to open it up a bit, cutting off ties with them like this is just right. You don't have to worry about it, and Chu Xia also doesn't worry about it. And Zhao Yulan took the Fat Ant's hand. Shaxiang, you treat me better than my own sister, and Baohe and I are lucky to be able to associate with you in this life. There is a saying that I have kept in my heart for a long time. Let me say it before, lest you and Gangshun think too much. Now, you know that I am definitely not being polite to you. It's what happened back then. I really don't blame you and Gangshun, nor can I blame Grandpa Dagong. You guys, stop carrying this burden. The Fat Ant smiled and nodded. Okay, I won't carry any more burdens. I'll talk to Gangshun so that he won't carry any burdens either. Look, If you and Gang Shun didn't do that at the time, the final result would be that both of you would be denounced, and then our two families would become equally poor, and no one could help the other. In early summer, our family has not lost the light of you and Gang Shun. In this life, the people she must repay her kindness to are you, Gang Shun and her sister-in-law Bao Juan. No matter what time it is, she will never forget you. I'm waiting to enjoy the blessings of Chuxia. Fat Ant suddenly squinted her eyes and smiled. By the way, Yulan, Gang Shun, and I have made up our minds. When you and Bao He go to Chuxia, we will go too. We want to see you see the subject at the red flag. That's good. Zhao Yulan smiled from the bottom of her heart. I reckon that this girl will definitely satisfy you. I asked Chuxia about it, and she said, that girl is honest and capable, and she is also quite handsome. She is considered above average, not to mention, our hunky is quite blessed, so we found a good wife without worrying about it. When you mentioned this, I wanted to say it. You always said that we helped you a lot, but if it weren't for your family's early summer, Zioxian and Hunky would not have this opportunity. Our two families, don't say who gets more credit, we just get along so naturally, and when we get old, we will be together. Success, that's it. But Yulan, when your Jiabao finds your relatives, they will probably be high officials, so you can't dislike us and lose face. That. Zhao Yulan shook her head with a wry smile. The world is so big, how can it be so easy to find? To tell you the truth, Bao He and I didn't dare to think too much about it. Bao He said, from now on, my parents will be his own parents, so let my parents treat them as raising another son. The conversation between the two of them faintly entered Lin Bao He's ears. He was always in a state of half dream and half awake. When he was young, he grew up slowly, bits and pieces of the past flooded into his heart. Suddenly, he dreamed that he was at the bank of the river where his parents died. Suddenly, two whirlpools appeared in the middle of the river. A man and a woman were trapped in the water, calling his name while sinking. He wanted to go to save them, but he couldn't move. He ran desperately but couldn't move his legs. Just when he was feeling desperate, his daughter appeared, seeming to understand his intentions. She jumped into the river. He panicked, and shouted loudly, Xia, Xia. Bao He, what's wrong with you? Bao He. He suddenly opened his eyes and saw his wife's tense face. As his consciousness gathered little by little, Lin Bao He realized that he was having a nightmare. He turned his head to look out of the window. Behind the white curtains, there was a faint light. The fat ant followed his line of sight to look over, hurriedly opened the curtains, and said with a smile, our ward is really in a good location, and we can just see the sun rise. Bao He, how lucky you are. The lingering fear in his heart subsided little by little. Lin Bao He smiled at her, Ti Xiang, I'm really sorry to let you boil it. Be polite to me again, and I won't care about your affairs in the future. Fat Ant glared at him displeased. If you feel embarrassed, you should think it through earlier and live a good life with Yulan. I know. Lin Bao He looked at his wife apologetically. Yulan, I'm fine, you and Shaxian can sleep for a while. It's already dawn, don't sleep anymore. Zhao Yulan took out the thermometer from his armpit, and although she hadn't fully retreated, it was not so scary after all. Dr. Cheng turned over at 7 o'clock, and before the shift came to check on Lin Bao He's condition, he still told Zhao Yulan to make the patient feel at ease, otherwise, the inflammation in his body would disappear very slowly. Zhao Yulan quickly agreed, but she felt extremely worried. Given the current situation, it was really difficult to persuade him to calm down. Aunt Fat saw her embarrassment, so she pulled her to the door, and comforted her. He's just worried about Chuxia now. Why don't you send a telegram to Chuxia? That child is right now, maybe he can persuade her father. Zhao Yulan was a little moved, but after that, she shook her head like a rattle. No, if you really call Chuxia back, he must be in a hurry again. It's not a serious illness. The doctor said it's just that it's getting better soon, I just need to wait on him for a few more days. Cha Xiang, hurry back, the 10 o'clock bus is still in time. I'm telling you this. It's not that I'm in a hurry to go back. I'm thinking about untying the knot in Baohe's heart. The fat ant gave Zhao Yulan a blank look. What's the convenience for you here alone? You're staying here now, our family. If there are patients in the other beds in the back, making a lot of noise, can you rest assured that Lu Baohe is here after you go out? What am I going out for? I'll just stay here and guard him. You don't go to the bathroom? Don't you eat? The fat ant rolled her eyes again. You're quite smart, why do you get confused after a while? What can happen if you just go to the bathroom and have a meal? Zhao Yulan looked at her amusedly. You are just afraid that the two of us will be bullied here and think I am stupid. Don't worry, we are different from before now, not so stupid. Being told what was on her mind, the fat ant laughed. It's okay, I haven't slept all night and my brain is not confused. That's all right, don't give in to me. Hunky and Zioxian are not at home, and my house is fine. He is easy to take care of. Yu Gengshun is at home, and he will take care of the houses on both sides. Don't worry about it. Let's take good care of Baohe right now and let him leave the hospital early. Once the arrangements are made, you can go find him quickly. In early summer, I am still anxious to see my daughter-in-law. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 409. The second watch arrives. Seeing that fat auntie was sincerely staying to help, Zhao Yulan stopped being polite to her. After all, it was much more convenient for someone to accompany her here. At 8 o'clock in the morning, a female doctor in her 30s came in with two nurses, smiled at them, picked up the bedside notebook and read it carefully, began to take temperature, blood pressure, and listen to lung sounds. Smiled and looked at several people. Don't worry, the patient's condition continues to improve. My name is Chiao Ying. I'm in the same office as Dr. Cheng. If you need anything, go to me. Zhao Yulan thanked her and followed her out. Dr. Chiao, is my husband okay? The patient is in good health, eat lightly for the past 2 days, keep a happy mood, and will recover soon. Chiao Ying's gentle smile gave people a very comfortable feeling, and Zhao Yulan's anxiety dissipated little by little. But when she returned to the ward, seeing Lin Baohe staring at Ji Ding in a daze, Zhao Yulan's worries piled up little by little. Both doctors suggested that Lin Baohe should relax, but at this moment, how could he be relaxed? Lin Baohe turned his head, just in time to collide with his wife's worried eyes. After being slightly startled, he asked suspiciously, "What did Dr. Chiao say again?" "Keep you happy, but..." Zhao Yulan sighed. "Baohe, if you feel sorry for me, I'm sorry to hurt Shaxiang, you must make yourself better sooner." After being dazed for a while, Lin Baohe sighed, "I see. What's the use of knowing?" Zhao Yulan simply sat by his bed, spread out and said to him, "Baohe, the matter has come to this point. You can't solve anything if you piss yourself off. On the contrary, it will make me feel anxious. Let those who are close to us also be worried." Cha Xiang suggested that I send a telegram to Chu Xia. Lin Baohe suddenly sat up. Staring straight at Zhao Yulan, "You didn't send a telegram, did you?" "No." Zhao Yulan hurriedly supported him to lie down. "Look at your temper, I haven't finished talking yet, why are you in such a hurry?" Lin Baohe breathed a sigh of relief. "The child has just returned, don't toss her back and forth, I'm fine, we can't always hold the child back." The fat ant who was sitting on the side snorted, "Baohe, do you think I'm meddling? Tea fragrance. How can I not know that you are doing it for my own good?" Lin Baohe smiled helplessly. It's not that you don't know my temper, how can you wrong me so much? You and I are not married, how do you know your temper? Fat Ant squinted at him. Don't put a high hat on me, I don't appreciate it. Hey hey. Seeing Lin Baohe with a tired and smirking face, Aunt Fat quickly got up and came to the bed. Okay, I am teasing you, do you really take it seriously? If you are tired, stop talking. Have a good rest. Well, I'm really tired, so I just want to sleep. Lin Baohe fell asleep again while talking. Zhao Yulan sighed quietly, I've known him for so many years. This is the first time I saw him like this, even when he was criticized back then, I never saw him like this. People who value friendship are like this. He just can't get over this hurdle at once, don't worry. Give him time, he will figure it out. The fat ant also sighed. I hope I can find my relative sooner. Baohe has never been blessed since he was a child, and he has suffered a lot. Sometimes I wonder, what is the purpose of a person's life? Is it to suffer? You said that the two of us have survived one hurdle, and then another. Finally, Chu Xia was obedient and we didn't have to worry about it. After making such a mess again, you said that when this matter is settled, other things will come out. I'm really scared. Don't think so. Fat Ant could only pat her on the back soothingly, don't think so. After a long time, Zhao Yulan regained her composure, and smiled embarrassedly at her fat ant. That's how people are. They say they figured it out, but when they encounter the slightest problem, they can't figure it out again. Forget it, I stop torturing yourself here, Cha Xiang, you should go out and do some activities, you've been curled up all night, you're not feeling well, are you? Fat Ant replied cheerfully, okay, I'll go out for a walk, and I'll come back to change you later. Walking to the door, she looked back at Zhao Yulan again. We agreed, we want to be like a family, it's not worth it, in the future, don't be polite to me, and I won't be polite to you either. And Zhao Yulan nodded solemnly, expressing that she was serious about this matter. Half an hour later, the fat ant came back and asked Zhao Yulan to go out for a walk without saying anything, but Zhao Yulan had no choice but to obey her. After leaving the door of the ward, she walked along the corridor to the hall, and when she went out, the cold wind blew on her body, and she suddenly felt refreshed. It's almost winter, and the yard is bare. Flocks of sparrows sometimes toss on the branches, and sometimes fly to the ground to peck a few bites. She saw these scenes from time to time, and there was nothing new about them. She only stood for a while, then turned and went back. When she entered the door, she almost collided with a figure who came out. I'm sorry, Zhao Yulan apologized reflexively. You woman, before she could recover, the person standing across from her yelled and rushed towards her. She was so frightened that she hurriedly took 2 steps back, only then did she realize that the person who rushed towards her was actually her first love. Lover Zhang Yueshan's wife Che Zili. It's really a narrow road to enemies. When she and Chu Xia came to ask Zhang Yu's Hung for help last time, they met this woman and were beaten up for no reason. Why did they meet again today? Could it be that the county seat had a natural enmity with her? Shouldn't she have come to the county? Thinking wildly in her mind, Zhao Yulan turned around and ran away. She didn't know why she ran. Anyway, she ran away by reflex. As soon as she ran, Che Zili refused to let her go, and chased after her, swearing dirtily, "Stop, you shameless woman, when did you hook up with him again? You are ugly, you dare to hook up with my man, let's see if I don't tear your dick." The dirty words instantly woke up Zhao Yulan. Yes, why did she run away? Doesn't she feel guilty when she runs away? What is she running for? What is there to be ashamed of? Her husband was hospitalized and she came to accompany her in bed. Why did she hide from an above-board matter? As for Zhang Yu's Hung, she begged him last time, but she didn't ask for anything, and she was beaten up. If she owed it, it was their family who owed her. Why did she hide? Thinking of this, Zhao Yulan braked hastily. Josei did not dodge in a hurry, and bumped into her. After all, she is a person who works all the year round. Zhao Yulan dodged to the side as soon as her body swayed, unable to stop her feet like a locomotive running out of control. Josei rushed forward several steps before barely stopping. The quarrel between the two has already attracted the attention of the patients and their family members strolling in the yard. They all stopped and looked at this side. Josei, who felt ashamed, turned around and walked to Zhao Yulan's side, stretching out her hand. She slapped her face. The last time she was allowed to beat her, it was because she begged someone's husband and felt wronged in her heart. This time, she has nothing to do with him at all. This woman is really addicted to playing. Zhao Yulan grabbed the other's overstretched arm and looked at her coldly. Josei, what kind of crazy are you? Josei's whole body was trembling. Hey, you came to hook up with my man, and you asked me why I was crazy. Seeing more and more people gathered, Zhao Yulan also felt very embarrassed, so she frowned and explained, my husband is admitted to the hospital, and I will come to bed with you. What nonsense are you talking about? Josei chuckled, your dream is getting more and more shameless. Your husband is admitted to the hospital? With your family's conditions, your husband can still come here when he is sick? Yes, if there is a serious illness that cannot be cured, you really have to come here. Zhao Yulan, what is your husband's dying illness? Why don't you stay with him well and come out to wander around? What is the heart of your woman? My husband is in the hospital, you come for a walk outside. Snapped. Early summer. The sound of clear slaps and Zhao Yulan's exclamation merged together. Josei covered her hot face and turned her head slowly. It took a long time before she recognized the girl who was staring at her with wide eyes and an angry expression. The fat facial features quickly twisted together. Little dead X, you dare to hit me, see if I don't tear your X. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 410. The third update today. Nuan really worked hard, please encourage. Snapped. Snapped. Before Josei rushed to Chu Xia's side, her two cheeks were hit again, one on the left and one on the right. The ones who hit her were two young men she didn't know, one was elegant and the other was rough. Sue is used to seeing the wind and waves, and she has been reluctant to move her eyes away for a long time. As for the pain, I have already forgotten. After Zhao Yulan pinched herself to make sure she wasn't dreaming, she pulled her daughter in surprise and joy, and stammered, Xia, why are you here? Mother, it's a long story to say, and I'll tell you later. Chu Xia pulled Zhao Yulan to the group of people who came with her, and introduced them one by one. Mother, this is Grandpa Lin Shenghong, this is Big Milk Grandma Yali, this is the eldest brother Lin Haidong, this is the eldest uncle Zhang Xinwan, and this is the lobby brother Lin Wenbin. The one who just slapped Josei on the left and the right was Lin Wenbin, the lobby brother, and the other one, of course, was Jing Zhetongzi. Lin Wenbin was a tall man of 1.86 meters, with a strong physique and a dark complexion, which was in stark contrast to the elegant Jing Zhet. Hello, brother and sister, can you take us to see the second brother? It was Lin Haidong who spoke, that is, Zhang Xinwan's husband. Upon closer inspection, he was really similar to Lin Baohe. Okay. Needless to say, Zhao Yulan knew that this should be her husband's relatives, and at this speed, she is now fully in a psychedelic state, her mouth is saying hello. His legs were moving, but he couldn't figure out what he was doing. Seeing a group of people treat her as nothing in the past. Josei finally came to her senses, and rushed to catch Zhao Yulan. Stop for me, and speak clearly before you leave. Why do you seduce my husband, beat me, and find helpers to beat me? Zhao Yulan, you are really getting more and more shameless. It seems that you were really itchy from the beating. Chu Xia kicked Josei's ass, knocking her to the ground. The last time she and her mother came to ask Zhang Yu's Hung for help. This woman beat her mother to death, but unfortunately she was too weak at that time, and she couldn't help much in rushing to help, and she was pinched several times by this woman. With this mean face, she didn't get angry at all. You. Josei was too angry to speak. Mom, what's wrong with you? A girl in her early 20s ran over in a hurry, stretched out her hand to pull Xile up, and then gave Chu Xia and the others a bad look. You guys pushed my mother down. It's me. Chu Xia stood up with a daring attitude. Do you know who my dad is? The girl asked with her back straightened. It turns out that the ancestor of my dad is Li Gang is here. The corner of Chu Xia's mouth twitched, she turned around and dragged Zhao Yulan forward. Her main business was to see her father first. I rushed back to the village early in the morning, only to learn that my father had been admitted to the hospital. But she was so anxious that the driver was almost driven crazy by her along the way. Fortunately, Mr. Lin Shenghong is a sensible man. Moreover, all members of the Lin family are really worried about her father's condition. They all gave her a tolerant attitude towards her impatience. Of course Josei and her daughter wanted to catch up, but are the drivers and bodyguards brought by the Lin family vegetarian? Before they could yell out, they were already dragged out of the hospital gate by one left and one right, and thrown outside. Well, even if they were just thrown outside, the girls would lose all their faces. But at this time, Josei also understood that she seemed to have really misunderstood that woman, but even if it was a misunderstanding, she couldn't forgive her. Wouldn't she say something? Well, why do you want to do it? She seemed to have forgotten who started it first. Lin Bao he was still fast asleep. Chu Xia sat on the bed, holding his father's hand, looking at his obviously thin face and stub-bled chin. Tears rolled down like broken beads. The Lin family felt sour watching this scene. Along the way, Chu Xia had already told each other what had happened to her parents. Although the status of this family was beyond the reach of the common people, they were all very good-hearted. This made Chu Xia very fortunate. Although she didn't meet good adoptive parents, her real relatives were still very reliable. She didn't want to get rich, but wanted a rare family relationship. She knew that her father cared about this. Lin Wenbin looked at his little cousin who was crying with pear blossoms and rain, and even sobbed in a low voice. Jingjie, who was standing beside him, looked at him unexpectedly. What's going on? He really couldn't get used to the way a man around 1.8 meters cried like this. My little Chuxia is so cute, I like it, Lin Wenbin said with a sob. The black line on Jingjie's head grows in patches, just like it if you like it. Why are you crying? Well, it doesn't matter if you want to cry, please can you be more delicate? Big man like a black bear, what kind of embroidery needles are you wearing? Zhao Yulan stood on the side, at a loss, neither persuading her nor persuading her, neither talking nor speaking. In short, she was almost torn to death. The group of people rushing in suddenly shocked and fat. Fortunately, Luo Gangshun also came together, and Luo Gangshun completed the task of explaining to her. Brother, can you help my father take a look? Hearing his daughter's voice in a daze, Lin Bao he not only didn't open his eyes, but closed his eyes hard. Even if he was dreaming, he was happy to hear his daughter's voice. Next, he felt his wrist being grabbed, feeling his pulse. Well, he could feel this. How is it? This is the voice of my daughter. I'm anxious, and I'm tired and worried during this period, and it exploded all of a sudden. It's okay, just take care of it for a few days. This is Jingjie's voice, and he can hear it. No, it's impossible for him to dream so realistically. Could it be? He quietly opened a slit of his eyes, and what came into his eyes was his daughter's familiar little face. Xia, Lin Bao he called out tentatively. Father, are you awake? Chu Xia stretched his head forward, Father, I've only been away for 2 days, and you made yourself like this. How can this be okay? When I left, didn't you promise me that you would stop talking to the old couple and let you wait for my news, regardless of the nonsense that outsiders talked about? How can you be disobedient? Yulan, Yulan. Lin Baohe's gaze moved away from the slightly excited faces. When he saw Lin Shengjiang and Lin's Haidong, he froze for a moment. They looked just like him. Baohe, what's the matter? Zhao Yulan hurried forward and stared at him. Are you going to the bathroom? No, didn't you say you didn't send a telegram to Chu Xia? Then why did she come back? You're really confused. Even if I send a telegram, it won't arrive right now, right? Zhao Yulan looked at him helplessly. Why don't you believe me? I can still lie to you by saying I didn't send it. Then Lin Baohe felt that he seemed to understand, but his mind was muddled, he couldn't grasp the main point, and was sweating anxiously. Father, they are all your relatives, this is your uncle. Chu Xia introduced each of them to Lin Baohe in detail. After Mr. Lin sat beside Lin Baohe, she quietly backed away and came to the fat next to my aunt. Aunt, you are so kind. Of course it's good. And fat aunt smiled with tears in her eyes. I'm really happy for your father, having such a capable daughter like you. How many lifetimes of blessings has he cultivated? Why do you think you are so capable? What? It took only 2 days to bring people back. Alas, yesterday, your mother and I were still worrying about how to let your father relieve the burden in his heart. Unexpectedly, today, you will find someone to unload the goods. Coming. Auntie, what's going on specifically, can you tell me about it? Chu Xia said while glaring at Luo Gangshun. I asked Uncle Gangshun, but he didn't tell me in detail. I'm an old man, how can I insert such a mouth? Luo Gang said straightforwardly, and moved to Lin Baohe's bed after speaking, indicating that he wanted to distance himself from the gossip. Lin Baohe can't accept the fact that his relatives have found him now, or rather, he can't adapt to be more accurate. Even if Chu Xia's introduction is clear, even if Lin Shenghong holds his hand and looks affectionate, he still can't connect himself with these people. The Lin family is not in a hurry, not to mention Lin Baohe, even they are still in the dark. If it weren't for the good relationship between brothers, Lin Shenghong would not be in such a hurry to move the grave to pick up his nephew. Zhiliang, I know you won't be able to accept it for a while. It's okay. We have plenty of time to spend together. Slowly, you will accept it. Lin Shenghong stroked Lin Baohe's head with a big hand, comforting Lin Baohe with a smile. His name should be Lin Zhiliang, which was chosen for him by his father Lin Zhenjun and mother Qi Cheng. A big hand stroked his head, warming it, making Lin Baohe's eye sockets wet all of a sudden. Growing up so big, no one has treated him with such a caring attitude, not since he was a child. Uncle, this uncle, is completely from the heart, not with a polite and distant honorific title, but a recognition of the status of the other party's relatives from the heart. Hey, Uncle Lin couldn't help but feel the change in his attitude and tone, and responded happily, not knowing what to say for a while. Zhang Yueshan's ward was also very lively, but his excitement was different from Lin Baohe's. Instead, his wife was pointing at his forehead and scolding him to death. If you don't provoke that little bastard, I will be so angry. I will be bullied for no reason. I will be unlucky for 8 lifetimes if I marry you. I don't care. You have to vent your anger on me. Che Yelai, who was beside the hospital bed, was talking about spit flying all over the place. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 411. One more. After talking for a long time, Zhang Yuzhong didn't respond. Che Yelai quit and pushed him on the shoulder. I said, are you a man? Your wife was beaten. She was beaten. Do you care or not, in spite of? Zhang Yuzhong frowned in annoyance. It's almost enough. I'm a patient now. If you expect me to die early and change men as soon as possible, then continue to make trouble. When has a husband ever treated himself like this? Chayelai simply sat down on the ground, crying and scolding, if you hadn't married me, would you be where you are today? What's wrong? You forgot your origin after climbing up with the help of my family. You started to dislike me? Jang Yu's hung. If you really dare to do something sorry for our mothers, I will definitely let you go back to before marriage overnight. If you don't believe me, try it. Jang Yu, who yelled stop several times to no avail, trembled with anger. Speak up, or you can go to the broadcasting room and shout into the loudspeaker. I guarantee that you will soon be able to watch as you wish until I go back to get married overnight. The problem of style in this era is extremely serious. When Chayelai got excited just now, she forgot that she was in the ward. Seeing her husband who was turning pale with anger, she immediately panicked and rushed to the bed to caress the other's cheek. Apologize on the back. Yus Hung, I'm sorry, Yus Hung, I was too confused, I didn't mean it. Do you want me to call the doctor now? What's it called? Isn't it enough to be ashamed? Jang Yus Hung gave her a bitter look, and turned his head to the side, too lazy to look at her. Growing up so big, no one has ever hit me in the face, and it was done in front of so many people. How can I see people in the future? You are my man. If I don't ask you to help me vent my anger, who will I turn to? Chayelai defended herself with her head drooping and her expression aggrieved. Zhang Maiziang pushed the door open and came in. Hearing Chayelai's justification, she hurriedly chimed in, Dad, Mom is not exaggerating in this matter at all, you must express your gratitude for Mom, otherwise, you will have no place to save your face. Zhang Yus Hung hummed, but said nothing. Dad, who doesn't know you in this hospital? Also, when Mom was bullied, maybe some of your subordinates were also in the hospital. If you don't have an attitude about this matter, then really a person can ride our necks and shit on our necks. This time, Zhang Yueshan's expression changed. He doesn't care if his wife has face or not, but it doesn't matter if his subordinates don't respect him. Seeing that his expression was loose, Zhang Maiziang continued to use strong medicine. Dad, why did that woman dare to treat Mom like this? Don't you think she is your first love, and you dare not do anything to her? Mom for Dad. Or you can put up with it, but what if we meet again next time? Outsiders don't know why she can be so arrogant. How would you think about it? Whether it is misunderstood in terms of style or other aspects, it will not do any good to Dad or our family. If Grandma and Grandpa knew about this, I will definitely ask my uncle to help me get out. At that time, Dad, you will have nothing to do if you want to be rescued. Zhang Yus Hung finally made up his mind. He waved at his daughter and said, Go, hurry up and get your grandparents and second uncle and sister-in-law over. Yes, Zhang Maiziang replied cheerfully. Kong Chielai squeezed her eyes and ran out. Or it was because she was so happy to see her daughter and relatives. Lin Baohe's fever subsided quickly, and when Xiao Ying came to check the ward again, he made it clear that as long as he maintained this state, he would definitely be discharged from the hospital tomorrow. His illness is a sudden attack, and it comes and goes quickly. After Xiao Ying left, the fat aunt explained to the Lin family with a smile, it looks silent, but it is actually a quick temper. Follow his father. Lin Shenghong sighed, Zhiliang, after I get better, I will move back to the capital with my uncle. The share belongs to your father, mother, and you. Your uncle, mother, and brother are both. I kept it for you all the time. Lin Baohe hurriedly refused, No, I'm very happy to find you. I just want to know who my relatives are and where my roots are. I found you not to gain fame, really not. Zhao Yulan followed closely and echoed her husband, Uncle, the two of us have discussed this matter. He just wants to have a place to settle down in the future. How should we live, or how to live? Lin's Haidong blocked the words with a smile, Second brother, younger brother, and sister, what dad said is true. Half of our house is vacant. When grandparents were here, no one was allowed to live in it. Sue went to clean it every day. It was confiscated later. We moved into a small house, and still left 2 rooms for you. Of course, now, we have moved back to our old house. The half that belongs to you still cleans it every day, and no one lives in it. I said this to let the second brother and the second younger siblings know that although they dare not look for you openly, the Lin family has never forgotten you, let alone wanting to take advantage of you. When my grandparents were alive, they often shed tears for my second uncle and aunt. If it weren't for fear of causing trouble to my second uncle and aunt, we would have gone to find my second uncle and aunt in a fair manner. Now that you are back, second brother, you must go home to live, so that our grandparents can feel at ease in the spirit of heaven, and the second uncle and aunt will definitely be happy from the bottom of their hearts. Lin Shenghong's wife, Ye Li, answered quickly, Zhiliang, we have heard Chu Xia's story about your stay in Dalian village. Don't worry, everyone in our family sincerely wants you to go back. Zhang Xinwan also quickly expressed her opinion, that's right. This is something we've been looking forward to for many years. Your eldest brother has a lot of thoughts, but he never plays tricks on his family members. Don't worry. Second uncle, everyone in our family is here except my little aunt. You absolutely don't have to worry about some messy relatives after you go back, which will make you unhappy. Lin Wenbin's mood has recovered, and he also followed the elders to help persuade. Of course, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan could feel the sincerity of the Lin family, but they really had no intention of moving them to the capital. Being with their daughter is what they want. After organizing his words, Lin Baohe looked at the Lin family and the others seriously. Uncle, brother, sister-in-law, eldest nephew, I feel your sincerity, I understand, you really love me, really want me back. However, Yulan and I grew up in the countryside. We miss our homeland here. Dalian village is not my root, but Xiaolin village is Yulan's root. There are many folks in Dalian village who treat us sincerely. Xiaolin village has our relatives. They come back to live for a few days every year, see old friends and elders, and spend the rest of the time with Chuxia. This is what we want. Day. Baohe, you don't want to get close to us. Lin Shenghong looked at him disappointedly. You are a descendant of the Lin family, why don't you go back? Lin Baohe glanced at his wife and daughter, then turned to look at Uncle Lin with a firm expression. We go back to see our uncle and auntie every year. As for the property, we don't want it. Let the uncle and auntie deal with it. You child is too stubborn. Lin Shenghong thought for a while, then said, well, I won't force you, I will let someone take care of the house over there, no matter whether you go or not. Stay, it's all yours. Before the old man and the old lady left, they made a clear division of the things in the house. When the house came back, they were all returned. I have kept them all these years. I will show you them later. For the time being, put them in the here I am, when you are able to keep it, I will give it to you. The same surname is Lin, but the behavior of the two Lin families is too different. With such an open and upright relative, Lin Baohe feels very warm in his heart, and even feels that the suffering he has suffered is not a big deal. But he really couldn't make him accept the properties that belonged to his parents in a down-to-earth manner. He always had the feeling that he recognized his relatives to take advantage of them, so he continued to decline. Uncle, if you want to let me go back to Lin's house, don't force me to accept these things, otherwise, I really dare not go. Zhiliang, if you do this, how can I face your grandparents and your parents? Knowing Lin Baohe's temper, he was also afraid that if this entanglement continued, everyone felt uncomfortable. As an outsider, Luo Gangshun hurried forward to help smooth things over. Uncle, Baohe is just so stubborn. At this moment, there are some things that can be discussed slowly. Now, the most important thing is to get together with relatives. Is it reasonable for you to keep saying that? Grandpa Lin also realized that he was too anxious at this moment. The moment he saw Lin Bao he was 100% sure that this was definitely his nephew. Therefore, the first reaction is to give him back what belongs to him, and let him know that the Lin family has never forgotten him. In other words, he was subconsciously worried that his nephew might not believe the explanation he had given to his second brother's family for so many years, so he wanted to use this method to prove the truth of what he said. In the end, the more the other party didn't want it, the more he felt that the other party couldn't trust them, and the more he wanted to force the other party to take over things. He was really dazed. Anyway, measuring his family, why rush at this moment? After thinking through all this, Grandpa Lin held Lin Baohe's hand with a smile. Zhiliang, take good care of your illness, and when you are discharged from the hospital, let's transfer your parents' graves to the Lin family's ancestral graves so that they can reunite with your grandparents. As for the others, let's take our time. Uncle won't force you. Maybe after early summer you will move to the capital with Xiaozhou. At that time, you have to go if you don't, right? Okay, I'll listen to Uncle Lin Bao. He nodded happily. He is not hypocritical. For the sake of his daughter, it is not impossible at all. The daughter is more confident in her husband's family, so she will be valued more in her husband's family. The nephew didn't argue with him anymore, and Grandpa Lin became happy. I'll go to your little aunt's house first when I leave the hospital tomorrow. Back then, your parents came to join her. After all these years, the old lady has been in a knot in her heart. Son, seeing you, maybe I can get rid of that knot. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First marriage then love, Mr. Mayor please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 412. The second watch arrives. I'm well now, let's go see my little aunt now. In order to prove that he was telling the truth, Lin Bao he raised his leg and stepped under the bed, but as soon as his foot hit the ground, his body fell, and Zhao Yulan grabbed her. Grabbing him, he said angrily, can you stop being brave? I feel better, I feel quite strong. Lin Bao he explained coyly. He couldn't help but sneak a glance at his daughter. That cautious look made Chu Xia angry and funny, so he deliberately with a sound, the gaze turned to the window. Xia, I want porridge and eggs. Lin Bao he smiled flatteringly at the back of his daughter's head. Can you go buy it for dad? Turning her head, Chu Xia's face was tense. Are you still trying to be brave? No, Lin Bao he quickly shook his head, and raised his hand. By the way, I promise I won't try to be brave anymore. In fact, I really felt stronger just now, and it took me a while to lie down, so I can't count. Since the last leg operation, his body has not been as good as before. Before returning, Chu Xia told him not to tire himself out and not to show off, so at this moment, he is really afraid that his daughter will be angry. In front of a crowd of people, Chu Xia didn't continue to make things difficult for her father. She stepped forward to help him adjust the pillow to make it more comfortable, and then asked everyone else what they wanted to eat, and she happened to buy it all at once. Without waiting for others to express their opinions, Lin Wenbin said first, I'll go with you. I know what my grandparents and parents like to eat, and you know what my second uncle, second aunt, Luo Shuluo, and Aunt Jingzhe like to eat. It's just right for us to go. You can buy it all. Where are you robbing my sister? Jingzhe glared at him. Whether you are dear or not, I am Chu Xia's dearest brother. Don't compete with me. It doesn't matter what you say about it. I have been looking forward to having a younger sister since I was a child. Now that my wish has finally come true, do you think I will let you? Lin Wenbin said as he pulled Chu Xia's arm provocatively and walked out. I'm her own brother, I can do this, but you can't. Why can't I? Jingzhe grabbed Chu Xia's other arm. my brother-in-law entrusted me to take care of my sister, so I can. The result of the three of them going out together was that they were stuck at the door, unable to get out. You let go of Chuxia. You let go. You all let me go. Mao Xia expressed her anger. Is this trying to squeeze me to death? Will my brother squeeze me to death like this? Step aside. The two men let go of their hands in fright. As a result, Mao Xia, who was struggling to earn money, was unprepared, rushed out and hit the oncoming Che Yelai's fat belly. After Zhang Yueshan's parents and younger siblings rushed over, Che Yelai brought them to Zhao Yulan in arrogance. In order to show her dominance, she walked in the first place. This is what happened to her. After straightening up, Chu Xia repeatedly apologized, I'm sorry, I was a little dizzy. Her eyes were a little dazzled, and she didn't even see who the woman bent into a shrimp shape was. Have you got eyes? You rushed out without taking a good look before going out. Are you in a hurry to lift the tire or something? Zhang Meixiang took a step forward, while gently stroking Che Yelai's stomach. While scolding Chu Xia. Huh, this voice sounds familiar. Chu Xia shook his head. Blinking and blinking, he finally saw who the person in front of him was. Looking at the mighty men and women behind him, how could he not understand what the other party was here for? The apology in my heart disappeared immediately, and the small face was pulled down. What are you doing here? What do you think? Although she had a helper, Zhang Meixiang's voice still subconsciously lowered when she saw Jing Zhe and Lin Wenbin standing on both sides of Chu Xia. You beat someone and asked us why we came here. Really interesting. Sister Yulan, stop pestering my brother. Because of you, my sister-in-law quarreled with my brother. Sister Yulan, your child is already this old, so stop doing stupid things. Where will you put your child's face? Yulan, my son is sorry for you, but after all these years, please let him go. Yeah, Yulan, you're all married now, don't talk about it, it's not good for the children. Without warning, second Uncle Zhang, Aunt Zhang, and Old Man Zhang called out at the top of their voices. 2. Bullying Zhao Yulan was so angry that she walked out trembling all over, fearing that the Zhang family would do worse, and she couldn't care less about explaining to the Lin family now. She only had one thought, to let the Zhang family live first. Let's talk. The shouts of Jiang's family have already attracted the family members of the patients nearby to gather around to watch the fun, and some even started pointing. Chu Xia is not angry now. If she really beats up the other party, or scolds the other party, it will only make outsiders misunderstand further. Aren't the Zhang family shameless? Then she will help them. Che Yelai, you used your power to seduce Zhang Yuzheng and explain the marriage contract with my mother. My mother didn't argue with you, but you kept picking on my mother again and again. What about it? Yes, you are not as good looking as my mother, and you are not as kind-hearted as my mother, but what does it matter? As long as there is your father, Zhang Yuzheng will not dare to leave you. What do you have to be afraid of? Moreover, when Zhang Yuzheng explained the marriage contract with my mother for the sake of power and wealth, my mother had already seen the essence of his stinky shit, so even if you are not confident, you don't have to keep your eyes on my mother. My father can no longer tolerate anyone in his eyes. My mother kept telling my father and me that she is very grateful to you, thank you for taking that stinky shit away, otherwise, her life might be ruined. Ordinarily, I should also thank you, but I have a small mind, and I will never tolerate people who bully my mother. So, don't think I didn't mention the ugly words first. If I find you bullying my mother again, I will definitely beat you like your mother doesn't even know you. At this time, Zhao Yulan had already moved to the door trembling, and hearing her daughter's eloquent narration, the tears in her eyes were forced back. Just as she was about to speak, Grandpa Lin and Lin's Haidong came out. Yulan, Bao, he said, let them come in, and solve the matter face to face, Uncle Lin said, and rushed to the onlookers respectfully. If you are interested, You can listen to it at the door. Boom. All of a sudden, the onlookers were blown away. If it was said that everyone was facing Che Yelai just now, then, after Chu Xia finished speaking, most people had already begun to doubt who was right and who was wrong. When Grandpa invited her like this, the emotional balance immediately tilted toward Zhao Yulan. Chu Xia had already mentioned Zhang Yueshan's name countless times just now. As the people of this county, how could they not know who the secretary of the county party committee is? According to rumors, the wife of the secretary of the county party committee is very powerful. Look at Zhao Yulan, who was cursed by the secretary's wife. How could she look like a vixen? Therefore, the truth has appeared in everyone's imagination. However, it is human nature to gossip. Hearing Uncle Lin's invitation, many people gathered here. Qiaoying also came over to find out what happened when she got the news. Are you here to see the doctor or to see the fun? Go back to your own ward. Everyone in the ward had just stood still, and before they even started arguing about who was right and who was wrong, Qiaoying came in with a gloomy face. If you want to resolve the conflict, please go outside. This is the ward. Everyone who has nothing to do with me, get out. Xiaoying, it's me. Seeing Qiaoying, Che Yelai immediately put on a flattering smile. You are on duty today? By the way, let Xiao Xiang buy it for you. What's for lunch? Zhang Maiziang curled her lips quietly. However, Qiaoying didn't buy Che Yelai's account. Auntie, don't bother my patient. I will burn incense for you. Take your people back. Don't make trouble anymore. Look at my aunt's face. Che Yelai put her face in front of Qiaoying. Look at it, it's all swollen. It was the patient's family who beat her. You can't just watch my aunt being bullied, can you? Auntie, this is your private matter. I don't want to get involved. If you really want to solve it, please talk about it after the patient is discharged from the hospital, okay? Although it was a discussion tone, Qiaoying's words were beyond doubt. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 413. After being rejected so straightforwardly by Qiaoying, Che Yelai's face immediately became uneasy. Xiaoying, you mean that my aunt was beaten to death here, and you can't even reach out to give her a hand, right? Auntie, can you stop being unreasonable? Che Yelai frowned tightly. This is a hospital, not our home. If you really think I'm your niece, don't make things difficult for me. Sister, your elbows are too far out, right? Zhang Maiziang stepped in front of Che Yelai, and stared at Qiaoying blankly, eyes full of anger. Che Yelai hurriedly pulled her back. Xiao Xiang, why are you talking to your sister? Mom, why do you always let her go? Zhang Maiziang threw away Che Yelai, who was pulling her. No matter how well married she is, she refuses to help us. You are an elder, do you have to curry favor with her? Dr. Chiao, I know that you are doing it for my own good. However, I am almost in good health. I also hope that the matter can be completely resolved today. You can let them stay with Zhao Yulan's support. Lin Bao. He went down. Getting off the bed, he walked over and asked Qiaoying seriously. Am I a doctor or are you a doctor? You just agree. Qiaoying looked at Zhao Yulan dissatisfied. As his wife, how can you just let him go without thinking about his health? Zhao Yulan smiled wryly. Dr. Chiao, he is just so stubborn. If this matter is blocked and not resolved, he will always be worried about it. Why don't we just make it clear and let this matter pass, so that he can feel at ease a bit? Dr. Chiao, I don't want to hide it from you. These people who came here. Lin Bao. He pointed to Uncle Lin and the others. They are my long-lost relatives. We just met, so I don't want them to misunderstand. I hope to be in front of them. It is very important to me, to Yulan, and to our family to settle the matter. Zhiliang, we won't misunderstand. Uncle Lin hurriedly stated. I absolutely believe that Yulan is innocent. When we came in just now, we met this woman. I want to slap Yulan's ears indiscriminately. If she wasn't with us, Yulan would really be at a disadvantage. Although we have just met, we can see clearly who you are, but I agree to clarify this matter face to face, so as not to get angry if we meet again. He said and looked at Jiao Ying. Dr. Jiao, you are an absolutely good doctor. I know that patients and their families like us are the ones you dislike the most. But, who let this happen by chance? You also said before that it is very important to keep a good mood for my nephew's illness. If this matter is not resolved now, it will be difficult for him to feel at ease. So, Dr. Joe, please be accommodating. Okay. What kind of temper is my aunt? Jiao Ying knew it all too well. She just wanted to stop her because she didn't want to embarrass her here, but now, it seemed that she couldn't stop her, so she simply couldn't see or worry, and walked away. As soon as she left, the people on Che Yelai's side breathed a sigh of relief, and the old man Zhang, who had been hiding behind and pretending to be dead, came back to life immediately. As for the people around outside, they all gathered at the door. From a health point of view, this is definitely not good, but Chu Xia, who deeply understands the feelings of her parents, knows that to them, innocence is more important than anything else, so she glanced at the door that was tightly blocked. Everyone, she didn't say a word. Obviously, everyone including the Lin family who just met also understood this, and Kikai took acquiescence. This situation has caused Che Yelai's mother and daughter to fight with the Zhang family. Originally, they regarded the Lin family as being in the same village as Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe, but now it seems that this is not the case. Knowing clearly that she misunderstood Zhao Yulan, Che Yelai still asked the Zhang family to accompany her to find fault, because she saw that Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe had no background to bully. Even if she was beaten at the door before, she only thought it was Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe's nephews who were young and energetic, and acted foolishly without knowing the situation. She also automatically classified the person who threw her and her daughter out into the category of stunned youth in the village. So, until Lin Baohe said that she had found her relatives, she still felt full of confidence that she would definitely make Zhao Yulan a complete mess, so that she would never have the face to appear in front of Zhang Yuzheng again. However, after learning that Uncle Lin was Lin Baohe's long-lost relative, she carefully scrutinized a few people and felt a little uncertain. Looking at the clothes of these people, they don't seem to be ordinary farmers, right? Suddenly recalling how she was fascinated by Jing Zhe and Lin Wenbin after being beaten, she almost wanted to smack herself into the ground. If an ordinary farmer could make her lose her composure like that. The temperament of these people is similar to the temperament of the family Jiao Ying married. No. No way. The more she thought about it, the more frightened Che Yelai became. In the end, she just stood there in a daze, silent. Moreover, when she came with a group of people just now, she thought that the people who came to see Lin Baohe should have left at this time. If she hadn't been bumped all of a sudden, or she would see how many people were there, she would retreat first and come back later. As a result, once bumped into and provoked, she didn't care about thinking about it, she just thought about how to get back her face, and pushed the other party down. The Zhang family didn't know what Che Yelai was thinking, they just thought it was Che Yelai who kept silent so that they could stand up for her. The Zhang family knew about Zhao Yulan and Zhang Yueshen's past. Moreover, they had looked down on Zhao Yulan back then. Zhang Yuzheng brought Zhao Yulan back to the Zhang family twice, and the Zhang family showed their disregard for Zhao Yulan with extreme indifference. After so many years, knowing that Zhao Yulan still hadn't given up on Zhang Yuzheng, they all looked down on Zhao Yulan from the bottom of their hearts. Therefore, when Che Yelai went back to look for them, they came together without the slightest hesitation. And they all vaguely knew that after all these years, Zhao Yulan was still a thorn in Che Yelai's heart, and they were very happy to help Che Yelai pull out this thorn. They didn't dare to say anything before because Jiao Ying was here. She was the one who even wanted to curry favor with her daughter-in-law, How dare they make a mistake? At this moment, Qiao Ying had made it clear that she would not interfere, so it was their turn to play. Mrs. Zhang went first, wiping the tears from the corners of her eyes. Yulan. When you were with Yuz Hung back then, we felt it was inappropriate. Now, he and Yelai have a good life. You also have a family and children, so don't do it again. Make trouble for him, okay? Old man Zhang continued, yeah, Yulan, what your aunt said is not nice, but that's the reason. If you continue to make trouble like this, your man won't be able to treat you well anymore. What do you think you should do? Don't wait for Zhao Yulan to speak. Aunt Zhang seamlessly connected, Sister Yulan, my sister-in-law doesn't like you always asking my brother for help, but my brother is kind-hearted. Seeing that you are not doing well, he thinks he should give you a hand. If he hadn't stopped her, my sister-in-law would have come to settle accounts with you a long time ago, even for my brother's love for you. You shouldn't add trouble to him, should you? Zhao Yulan's mood was completely calmed down by the Zhang family's barrage of questions. After Aunt Jiang's voice fell, she looked at second Uncle Zhang, who didn't pick up so quickly. And you, let's talk. I'll talk after you finish talking. I have nothing to say. What my parents and my sister said is what I want to say. Anyway, just one sentence. You spare my brother, let me go, he has done his best to you. It's all over. Zhao Yulan turned to Che Yelai and Zhang Maiziang, do you want to add something? You. Che Yelai stared at her forcefully, how can you be so shameless? Anyway, I brought my mother-in-law, father-in-law, uncle, and sister-in-law here just to let you understand that the Zhang family doesn't welcome you, so don't waste your time. I'm scheming, I will be Zhang Yueshan's wife for the rest of my life, take back all your messy thoughts. Little Zhe. Zhao Yulan looked at Jing Zhe, how do you tell a normal person from a delusional patient from the way they speak? Jing Zhe pointed to Che Yelai, this is basically a typical patient with delusional disorder and anxiety disorder. She should have been living in an unsafe state. This should be the reason for her husband. Aunt Yulan, you can't cure her illness. You're the one who is sick. Che Yelai stared at Jing Zhe with anger on her face. Who are you? Why are you talking nonsense here? Jing Zhe smiled warmly. I am the chief physician of the 401 General Hospital in City A. Although I am not a psychiatrist, I have also dabbled in this area. If you don't believe my diagnosis and treatment, you can go to a big hospital to have a look. If you continue to delay like this, you will be the one who suffers. His expression and demeanor were 200% like a doctor treating a mental patient, and the people who gathered around to watch the fun burst into laughter. Che Yelai glared at him angrily, but for a moment she didn't know what to say. After all these years, being praised and flattered by others, she has become accustomed to the feeling of superiority. She thought that as long as she knew that she was the secretary's wife, no one would dare to follow the fun, and no one would dare to help Zhao Yulan. Completely out of her control. She had nothing to say, but Zhao Yulan had something to say. She smiled lightly at the Zhang family who were standing opposite. I haven't seen you for many years, I really don't recognize you, and I really didn't expect that we will meet again at that time. You all came to frame me for such an unwarranted thing. Think back to those years, did I feel sorry for you? When Zhang Yuzheng wanted to climb high branches, did I stop him? Now, in order to make your daughter-in-law happy, you cooperate with her to pour dirty water on me, you pat your heart and mouth, ask your conscience, is your heart at ease? My husband and my daughter are all there. If they didn't understand me, I might be harmed by you now. For a person who has never been sorry to you, do you really feel at ease by doing this? It turns out that a big family came here to bully people on purpose. Yes, it's really shameless to bully people like this because of the power in your own family. Discussions came faintly, and the members of the Zhang family, who were already at a loss, didn't know how to answer the conversation, so they just stood there stiffly, looking at me and looking at you, not knowing what to say. My husband is still sick and needs to rest. If you have nothing to say, just go. Zhao Yulan thought for a while, then looked at Che Yelai. I tell you clearly, Zhang Yuzheng broke up with me because of power. At that time, I no longer had any thoughts about him. I am very glad that I saw his essence clearly early, so that I can find a good man like my husband. In this life, I am very happy to have my husband and my daughter. You can put your heart in your stomach, even if your husband is begging me on his knees now, it is impossible for me to have any affection for him. When we meet in the future, just pretend you don't know each other. If you target me inexplicably again, I believe my family will definitely vent their anger on me. Chu Xia hurriedly stood beside Zhao Yulan and nodded solemnly, yes, I have made everything clear today. If you target my mother again, don't think we are rude. Zhang Meiziang burst out laughing. She clutched her belly and looked sideways at Chu Xia. Why are you so rude? Let me ask you, this year you and your mother went to my dad to get you a place in the university entrance exam. Is it real? No. Chu Xia lied without blinking her eyes. At this time, if she wanted to say yes, 10,000 mouths would not be able to explain it clearly. Therefore, in case Zhao Yulan was telling the truth, she answered first. Sure enough, Zhao Yulan, who originally wanted to distinguish between two sentences, hesitated, turned around and helped Lin Baohe back to bed and lay down, and she herself sat on the edge of the bed with her head lowered. Lin Baohe took her hand and squeezed it lightly. Yulan, it's because of my incompetence that you have been wronged. It's our daughter who is promising, so I can protect both of us. Yeah. Zhao Yulan nodded, with a faint smile in her eyes. Hey, thinking about it, it really feels like a dream. In less than a year, this child has completely changed. Chu Xia is a good guy. Mrs. Lin sat down and smiled at the couple. We don't know the situation today, so we can't mix it up. In the future, no matter what happens, the Lin family will protect you. Zhao Yulan and Lin Baohe nodded quickly. Auntie, we understand, but I'm embarrassed to let you make trouble after we first met. Zhao Yulan said embarrassingly. What did you say? Is this what the whole family said? Mrs. Lin said with a smile. It's also a good thing that we found it, otherwise, if the whole family rushed over alive and well, wouldn't you be at a disadvantage? When she said this, Lin Baohe and Zhao Yulan also felt lingering fears. They knew exactly what kind of person Che Yelai was. If there were not so many people here, they would definitely be able to beat people to death. Whether you are a patient or not. Che Yelai knew that she couldn't take advantage of it today, so she didn't want to fight anymore. She pulled her daughter and turned around and went out. The Zhang family, who couldn't find anything to refute, let out a sigh of relief, and hurried out with her. A farce, just like that, with a lot of thunder and a little rain. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan. Chapter 414. Updated today, more tomorrow. After her daughter took her parents, younger siblings, and accompanied his wife to Lin Baohe's ward, Zhang Yuzheng felt oppressed all the time. He knew very well which one was more suitable to be his wife, Che Yelai or Zhao Yulan, but for the sake of his future, he chose Che Yelai without hesitation. Have you ever regretted it? When he was pointed and scolded by Che Yelai's parents, when he was ordered by Che Yelai to wash his feet, he regretted it to death. However, when he was flattered by his subordinates, envied by classmates and friends, and proud of his parents, younger siblings, he was extremely lucky. In this entanglement of contradictions, his father-in-law retired, and he climbed to the highest position in the county step by step. At the same time, his position in the Che family also changed little by little. Che Yelai also has an older sister, Che Yaping. Che Yaping married the son of his father-in-law's old colleague. His background is similar to that of the Che family, but he is just the son of an ordinary worker. This time, the eldest brother-in-law chatted with the father-in-law, the wife and sister-in-law chatted with the mother-in-law, and he was responsible for preparing meals for everyone in the kitchen. Since he was promoted to be the county magistrate 5 years ago, he finally doesn't have to go into the kitchen, and he can chat with his elder brother-in-law with his father-in-law. What makes him most proud is that he has today because of his own hard work. When the eldest brother-in-law was young, he relied on his parents, but now he relies on his daughter. Chayelai's attitude towards him has changed even more, although she still has the character of a tigress. Absolutely not like in the past, just scold and beat as soon as you say it. He knew that without the help of his father-in-law, it would be impossible to have him today, so in general, he was more glad than sorry. However, he also knew that he owed Zhao Yulan something. When he was young, he would still think about the other party, hoping that one day the other party would ask him, and he could help him a little bit, so as to make his guilt less. However, when Zhao Yulan really appeared in front of her and begged him for help, she saw that weathered face. He felt that it was too strange, so he couldn't nod his head, and he couldn't make a sound. When his wife scratched Zhao Yulan, he wanted to stretch out his hand, but when he stretched his hand halfway, he retracted it again. He hoped to pass this attitude. Let Zhao Yulan understand that she is no longer able to beg him. After that incident, he completely let go of the past. No, see, I still have fantasies in my heart, but when I see it, I really don't have any thoughts at all. Think. In this life and Zhao Yulan will not have an intersection again. I didn't expect it. They met again, and my wife misunderstood again. Of course he knew to ask his parents, younger brother and younger sister to accompany his wife to find Zhao Yulan to settle the score. It was extremely unfair to Zhao Yulan, but he couldn't help his wife's temper. Although his position in the Che family has been raised and his father-in-law has stepped down, there is still one important person in the Che family that he must not offend, that is the eldest sister, Che Yelian. Of course, Che Yelian has nothing to be afraid of, but her daughter Qiao Ying married Qiao Ningjiang from the Qiao family, a military family. Although his wife's personality is not very good, she is very close to her sister-in-law Che Yelian, even with her. The relationship with the sister-in-law is closer than the relationship with the mother-in-law, and Che Yelian also loves Che Yelai very much. Therefore, whether public or private, he cannot offend his wife, and can only bully Zhao Yulan according to his wife's temperament. However, he has not yet reached the point where he has no conscience at all. Same as frying. Just when he was so anxious that he wanted to see the progress of the matter in person, the door opened, and his wife, daughter, parents, younger siblings and younger sister walked in. How is it? When Zhang Yuzheng asked the sentence, there was obvious anxiety on his face. Are you asking me how I am? Or Zhao Yulan, Che Yelai, who was full of anger, stared at him and asked fierily. Didn't I follow your wishes? My parents and younger siblings are here too. Why are you still angry? Zhang Yuzheng frowned and stared at her. What exactly do you want? Dad, don't blame Mom, that woman is too bullying. Zhang Maiziang hurriedly told Zhang Yuzheng what happened just now, and Jiang's father, Jiang's mother and Jiang's second uncle, sister-in-law Zhang, also followed suit. I don't care, I can't forget about this matter. Anyway, you caused this trouble, and you are responsible for getting my face back, Che Yelai said bitterly. Zhang Yuzheng, who was thinking about the whole thing, said nothing. Hey, are you dead? Che Yelai pushed him hard. I was talking to you. Are you still thinking about that old vixen? MRS Zhang, and Jiang's second uncle, MRS Zhang, have seen such scenes a lot. Although Che Yelai's attitude towards Zhang Yuzheng made them uncomfortable, they also knew that they couldn't afford to offend her, so they simply lowered their heads and pretended dumb. Are you crazy? Zhang Yuzheng stared at Che Yelai. Don't even think about it. A group of people like you didn't get any advantage, so what advantage can I get if I go? I have told you countless times that I no longer have any feelings for Zhao Yulan. Even if you don't mention it, I will never remember this person. But you always hold on to this old sesame seed and rotten millet, so you think about it carefully. Is it you who look young or her? Can you help me or can she help me? Are you the mother of my child or is she the mother of my child? What are you talking about? Che Yelai pushed Zhang Yu's hung. How can this be compared? Of course I know you can't marry her, but I don't allow you to have her in your heart, and I don't allow you to help her. Don't allow her to pester you, so every time I see her, I will hit her once, just to make her have no courage to appear in front of you again. The things you said don't exist, I've said it 10,000 times, why can't you get out of this dead end? Zhang Yu's hung waved his hands irritably. Forget it, it's my fault, let's just leave it at that. Why? Che Yelai poked her neck quickly. Why did you do it like this? I was beaten up, I was at a disadvantage, why did I do it like this? Mei Xiang also said that the relatives of Zhao Yulan's husband don't look like farmers. They know your identity, but they dare to treat you like that. Why? If it is said that Zhao Yulan really came to look for me and poses a threat to you, I will go to her to settle the score now, and I can find a share, but the problem is that you misunderstood her. In this case, is there any difference between my looking for the past and your looking for the past? Why didn't I go just now? Because I'm going to be unreasonable. Alright, this is the end of this matter, I hope I will never see Zhao Yulan again in this life. If you don't help me vent my anger, I'll go to eldest sister, and eldest sister will definitely help me. Che Yelai got up and walked out. Anyway, I can't just suffer like this. You. Zhang Yu clutched her chest violently and fell down. Dad. Moonborn. Elder brother. The exclamation of several people pulled Che Yelai back. She thought Zhang Yu's hung was just pretending, but when she saw his blue face, she immediately became anxious. Okay, I won't go to my sister anymore. You really, even if I find my sister, I won't sue you, I just want her to help me out. Zhang Meixiang has already run out to find the doctor. After the examination, the attending doctor warned everyone not to make the patient angry and anxious, otherwise, all the treatment for the past few days will be invalidated. Zhang Yu's hung once suffered from myocarditis, and he had fully recovered after treatment. During this period, because of the unsatisfactory performance in the general election, he committed the crime again. Up to now, he has been in the hospital for half a month, and he has almost recovered. Unexpectedly, such a repetition suddenly appeared again. Che Yelai was terrified, and immediately dared not bring up the matter of going to Zhao Yulan again. Of course, the knot in her heart must not be solved. Zhang Yu's hung was in a hurry. Of course, he was not worried about Zhao Yulan, but from his daughter's narration, he felt that Zhao Yulan's family had undergone tremendous changes. When he was confused about the situation, especially at this most sensitive stage, he doesn't want to make more enemies for himself. Zhang Yueshan's condition worsened, but Lin Baohe's body recovered extremely quickly. After eating lunch, his spirits improved a lot in the evening. Qiao Ying told everyone to wait, that it would be absolutely fine to be discharged from the hospital the next morning. Originally, Grandpa Lin planned to go to his aunt's house to make a stop first, but after seeing that Lin Baohe recovered very well, he changed his mind. He wanted to surprise his little aunt. In the evening, Grandpa Lin and others went to the hotel to make do for the night. Early the next morning, after Qiao Ying conducted a detailed examination of Lin Baohe, he issued a discharge notice for him. Your aunt married the second son of Qiao's family, who is also one of the most famous people in the capital. If it is true, it can be compared with Chu Xia's in-laws family, and even better than the Zhou family. On the way home, Uncle Lin popularized knowledge to his nephew Lin Baohe. Grandpa, I want to know, Grandma Taigo will live a long life this year. Chu Xia kept holding back the boring question, and couldn't hold it back anymore. What do you think? Grandpa Lin made a fool of himself. Is it more than 100? Hee hee. Grandpa Lin laughed. Grandma Tai is the youngest in the family. She has a high seniority, but her age is not too different from mine. This year is exactly 78. Ah, Chu Xia really wanted to ask, how old were the grandparents and grandmothers, but they didn't have the nerve to ask when the words came to their lips. It was Grandpa Lin who took the initiative to answer. When your great-aunt was born, your wife and grandma were almost 50, so although we are a generation behind, we really grew up playing together. Lin Baohe's aunt lived in a small 3-story building in the eastern suburbs of Songshui County. It was only 8 o'clock when the group rushed over. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. First Marriage Then Love, Mr. Mayor Please Be Kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 415. Dear friends, happy carnival. If you can add another chapter, please try your best. Although she was not Zhang Yueshan's attending doctor, she was a relative after all. After finishing the work at hand, Qiao Ying came to Zhang Yueshan's ward. Che Yelai was peeling an apple, and when she saw her niece coming in, she immediately had a smile on her face. Xiao Ying, are you done? Sit down, I'll peel an apple for you to eat. Auntie, you can eat by yourself. I just had an operation and I don't want to eat. Qiao Ying walked to the bed, looked at Zhang Yueshan's face, and said with a smile, little uncle is recovering well, don't be too tired, this sickness depends on nourishment. Che Yelai said first, Xiao Ying, you haven't seen your little uncle like yesterday, his face has changed color, I almost let him scare me to death. Thinking of how Che Yelai took a group of people to find Zhao Yulan yesterday, Qiao Ying frowned. Auntie, uncle must not be angry with this illness. I know, I don't follow him in everything, so why not peel apples for him, Che Yelai said while handing the peeled apples to Zhang Yu's Hung. Hey, I picked the best one for you. Sweet. I don't want to eat, Zhang Yu's Hung refused. Che Yelai's face was gloomy for a moment, and then she smiled and handed the apple to Qiao Ying. Xiao Ying, you are resting now anyway, eat one, it's so sweet. Okay, no matter how much she refused, Che Yelai couldn't hold back her face, so Qiao Ying took it and put it on the table. I will take it with me when I leave later. I really have no appetite right now. Che Yelai sighed. Oh, your job is too tiring and dirty. Let me tell you, your in-law's family has such good conditions. How about giving you a lighter job? Auntie, I like this job, and I can't adapt to it if I change it to something else. Qiao Ying glanced at the time and stood up. Uncle, take care of your illness, I have to go back to the office, in case a patient comes it won't be good until I'm here. Go and get busy. I'm fine here. When I get better, you and Ning Zhang will bring Meow Meow to eat at home and ask your aunt to prepare delicious food for you. Okay, when the little uncle is discharged from the hospital, the three of us will go to wash the dust for the little uncle. I'll see you off. Che Yelai quickly followed Qiao Ying out, and when she reached the door, she held Qiao Ying's hand and said, Xiao Ying, Auntie has something to tell you. Auntie, I still have to work, so don't make things difficult for me. Okay, how could Qiao Ying not know what she was going to say? He forcibly broke her hand away, and walked to his office without looking back. Zhang Maixiang, who came over with a lunch box, saw her mother standing in a daze at the door of the ward from a distance. When she arrived, she was still in a daze. He patted the other person on the back heavily. Mom, what are you looking at? Che Yelai shivered in fright. He patted his chest and scolded his daughter, can't be gentle? You scared me to death. Carrying things, I didn't handle them well. Zhang Maixiang smiled and raised the lunch box in her hand. Grandma and sister-in-law made some delicious food, let's eat. You and your dad can eat, Mom will go to your aunt's house. Che Yelai walked away after finishing speaking. Zhang Maiziang grabbed her anxiously. Mom, what are you doing? I have an appointment with Yang Ping this afternoon. To buy a bicycle. I can't miss you. Seeing that her daughter didn't let go of her hand, Che Yelai could only explain, your sister doesn't blame me, I have to go find your aunt, Zhao Yulan, I can't just let it go. He lowered his voice, don't let your dad know, if he asks, just say I went home and changed my clothes. Zhang Maiziang rolled her eyes, Mom, I didn't mean you, that woman is more than 5 years older than you at first glance, what do you have to worry about? Che Yelai snorted coldly, I just can't swallow this breath. After thinking about it, Zhang Maiziang nodded in agreement, that's right, I can't swallow this breath, why do they beat people when they say they beat people? But Mom, the relatives they just met are not ordinary people at first glance, you be careful. I know. Che Yelai nodded, if I hadn't seen this, would I have spared her so easily yesterday? I won't go by myself, I'll find your aunt, ask your aunt to find your sister, and ask her to inquire. What are the origins of those lost relatives? Zhang Maiziang frowned, Mom, if we can't afford to mess with their backers, what are you going to do? We can't afford to offend you, can your sister also offend? Che Yelai snorted, it's not that I haven't checked the background of the man Zhao Yulan married, but he is an honest farmer whose ancestors are all in Dalan village farmers, what great relatives do you think they have? Right now, I wonder if those so-called relatives have identified the wrong person. Anyway, this matter is not right from any point of view. However, for the sake of your father's future, I can no longer act rashly. Your sister has always listened to your aunt. If your aunt speaks, she must help. If we can't afford it, let her get angry. With your aunt around, she dare not ignore it. Mom, you're so smart. Zhang Maiziang gave Che Yelai a thumbs up and pushed her, go, the more pitiful Mom is, the more auntie is willing to help. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, when Xiao Ying returned to the office after checking the room, she found her mother Che Yaping sitting on her chair with red eyes in a daze. Mom, what's wrong, who bullied you? Xiao Ying asked anxiously. Xiao Ying, you're back. Che Yaping sniffed and looked at the 2 interns following behind, and stopped talking. Teacher, we're going to take the patient's temperature. The 2 interns quickly took the thermometer and ran go out. Xiao Ying closed the door and sat across from Che Yaping. Mom, tell me what's going on. Ying, how can you ignore how your aunt was beaten up like that? She is your aunt and mother's sister. Do you still have mother in your heart? The worry in Xiao Ying's eyes dissipated immediately. Mom, did she look for you? If it wasn't for being bullied, there's nothing she can do. She is such a face-saving person, how could she find me? Che Yaping held her daughter's hand. Xiao Ying, help your aunt, okay. Xiao Ying frowned, you don't know anything. Just take care of these messy things. I was there that day. It's just my aunt who is jealous and finding fault. How can I help? When you get old, you will be rejected by others, alas. Xiao Yaping drooped her head and sighed, when your siblings were young, your father went to the grassroots level, and the whole family was left to mother herself, and she had to go to work and take care of you. Siblings. Mom is so busy all day long that she's falling apart. If it wasn't for your aunt, Mom doesn't know if she'd be able to survive this moment. Hearing her mother start making sesame seeds and rotten millet again, Xiao Ying quickly interrupted her, okay, Mom, I can't help, but how do you ask me to help? They have already been discharged from the hospital, so it's hard. Do you want to take someone to fight to their hometown? Discharged from the hospital, Che Yaping stared blankly at her daughter, aren't you lying to Mom? Go to the inpatient department and check to see if there is anyone named Lin Bao He. If you think the name I mentioned is wrong, you can ask my aunt and ask her for confirmation. Mom doesn't believe you. It was your aunt who said. That woman's man is your patient. Let me ask you to find out. See what the relatives of her man are. If she can provoke them, she will looking for love. If she can't afford it, she wants you to help her vent her anger. Your aunt said that she just wanted to give back those 2 slaps to the woman, and let Mei Xiang kick the woman's daughter twice, and forget about it. She also said that if you fulfilled her wish, even if she sees that woman again in the future, she will pretend not to know her. Xiaoying, Mom knows that your aunt is not reasonable, but it is not easy for her. When she married your little uncle back then, she was worried all day long, fearing that the woman would come to find your little uncle. After all these years, this incident is like a thorn in your little aunt's heart. Why don't you pull it out for her? She will never get better in this life. I really don't know the background of that group of people. Anyway, the people who brought the patients here the night before yesterday were all ordinary farmers, and the group of people who came later can tell that they are definitely not ordinary farmers. All right, I'll find a way to check this matter. Mom, this is the last time. If this happens again, I won't help at all. What's more, I'm in charge of the investigation. I can't help my aunt beat someone. She was wrong about this. I can't accompany her to make mistakes. What I'm doing now is to help my mother pay back. Che Yaping immediately beamed with joy. Xiaoying, Mom knows, of course Mom knows. Don't worry, if your aunt speaks again in the future, I will stop you to death. I'll talk to Ning Zhang about this when I get home at night, and ask him to check it out. If I get the result, I'll tell my aunt directly. Anyway, my uncle has to live here for a few days. Okay, go ahead, Mom won't delay your work. Che Yaping stood up and left contentedly. Seeing Che Yaping's figure disappear around the corner, Xiao Ying couldn't help but sigh repeatedly. How could she not understand her mother's thoughts? It's not bad for my mother and aunt to have a good relationship, but knowing that the other party is wrong, they must force her to help, but it has nothing to do with a good relationship. My mother is 10 years older than my aunt, and my eldest sister is like my mother. When I was young, my aunt was brought up by my mother, so the relationship between the 2 sisters is better than the relationship with their parents. In the first few years of my aunt's marriage, the relationship between the 2 sisters was still as innocent as before, but since my uncle's rise in the officialdom, catching up with and surpassing his father Jiao Shanren, the relationship between the 2 sisters has changed. In front of my mother, my aunt showed off her husband's ability from time to time. My mother had a good face, so she could only praise her with a smile. It was not until she married the Jiao family, a military family, that she broke this pattern and made my mother establish herself in front of my aunt again. Gained prestige. Or because she was once surpassed by her aunt, my mother was very concerned about whether she could save face in front of her aunt, but she had to give her mother face. She and her younger brother were brought up by their mother alone. She doesn't know how much her mother has suffered for their siblings. Apart from her love of vanity, her mother has no other problems. Moreover, her lifelong personality is not something she can understand. It can be changed. As a child, all she can do is to obey her mother's opinion as much as possible. She can help my aunt with this matter, but it is limited to finding out the background of the Lin family. She won't care about the rest. She can't do things against her conscience for the sake of her mother's face, let alone for her mother's sake. Face, let the husband's family lose face. After finishing the class, she went to school to pick up her daughter Miao Miao, but she did not expect to meet her husband Xiao Ningjiang at the school gate. He asked suspiciously, "Why are you here?" "There are guests at home, Grandma called me and told me to go home early. I'm afraid you and Miao Miao will be wandering on the road, so I'll come to the school and wait for you." "Hate it," Xiao Yingbei glanced at her husband. "I'm not a child, how could I wander around outside?" "Hee hee." Xiao Ningjiang laughed, "I miss my wife and my daughter, and I want to see my wife and my daughter sooner, and go home with them." Qiao Ying was so scared that she hurriedly looked around. Fortunately, some of the people who came to pick up the children were far away from the two of them. She let out a sigh of relief and gave her husband a look. "Stop talking nonsense, I'm going home first. I'm telling the truth." Seeing that his wife was really pushing the car, he left. Qiao Ningjiang quickly grabbed the back seat of her car. Okay, I won't talk anymore. Meow Meow is coming out soon. She has been looking forward to her parents picking her up together. By the way, who is the guest at home? Do I know him? Qiao Ying asked, feeling that it must be extremely important for the old lady to call the children home so grandly. She was a little curious. It's the uncle's family from the uncle's side? No wonder Qiao Ying looked puzzled. Why is the uncle's family here at this time? I don't know. Qiao Ningjiang shook his head. Grandma said on the phone that my uncle's family is here and asked us to go home early. She didn't elaborate on anything else. Don't guess, you'll know when you get back, just right. You can also meet the uncle's family, since you got married. You haven't seen them yet. Qiao Ying said regretfully. Yeah, it happens to be staggered every time. But after all, Grandma and Uncle haven't seen each other for 5 or 6 years, right? 6 years, Qiao Ningjiang sighed. It's all over now, and we should be able to see each other often in the future. Oh, what was that before? Relatives or relatives, friends or friends. Keep your voice down. Qiao Ying lowered her voice to warn Qiao Ningjiang. Don't you know that trouble comes from your mouth? Qiao Ningjiang smiled at her. I've checked, no one is there, don't worry. I need your help with something. Qiao Ying told Qiao Ningjiang in detail about how her mother asked her to help her aunt. Qiao Ningjiang also knew about the matter of the mother-in-law and sisters, so she readily agreed and comforted her wife. It's okay, we're just checking her background, and we won't help her beat anyone, so don't put too much psychological burden on her. I know. Qiao Ying smiled wryly, but I just feel uncomfortable. Qiao Ningjiang patted his wife on the shoulder without saying a word. Seeing her parents from a distance, Meow Meow flew over happily like a little swallow, and jumped straight into Qiao Ningjiang's arms. Dad, why are you willing to pick me up? Qiao Ying put on a straight face on purpose. Mom comes to pick you up every day, and you don't kiss your mother like this. Is Mom jealous of Dad? Giggle. The child's unique laughter made Qiao Ying feel better immediately. It was only 6 o'clock when the family of 3 came home talking and laughing. Mom and Dad seemed to have a very short way home together. When the little girl got off her father's car seat, she still had a lot to say. When I have time later, Dad will pick you up with Mom again. At the same time as Qiao Ningjiang's words fell, Meow Meow had already rushed home, still yelling, Grandpa and Grandma, I'm back. This child. Qiao Ningjiang shook his head helplessly, and looked at his wife. With my grandpa and grandma, I will immediately forget my parents. Okay, you can eat the jealousy of grandparents too, shameless. Qiao Ying parked the bicycle with a smile, and pushed open the door with her husband. As soon as the outer door was pushed open, cheerful laughter could be heard in the room, and Meow Meow's small figure rushed out quickly. Mom and Dad, hurry up, there is such a beautiful sister here. I grow up it's going to be so good looking. Have you said hello? Qiao Ying scolded. No, I saw my sister as soon as I opened the door. I just want my parents to see it too. Meow Meow took her parents' hands from left to right and pulled them into the room. As soon as they entered the room, everyone looked over. Sitting in the middle of the hall, the white-haired old lady greeted the family of 3 with a smile. Ningjiang, Xiaoying, quickly bring Meow Meow over to see your uncle and uncle, elder brother and sister-in-law, second brother and second sister-in-law. Dr. Qiao. As soon as Qiao Ying came in, Chu Xiao's family recognized her, and at this moment, Zhao Yulan excitedly stepped forward to hold her hand. I didn't expect that we are a family, I really didn't expect it. Qiao Ying's brain was short-circuited, and she just shook hands with the other party reflexively, unable to say a word. Chu Xia stepped forward and took her other hand. Dr. Chiao, I really didn't expect such a coincidence. Yes, after Ning Jiang got married, we came here once, and missed Ning Jiang's daughter-in-law. This is really... Grandpa Lin looked at the puzzled old lady with a smile. Sister-in-law, your granddaughter-in-law is Hiliang's attending doctor. Do you think there is such a coincidence in this world? Ha ha ha. The old lady laughed heartily. This shows that we are a family. Xiaoying, come sit with grandma, you are a great contributor to our family, ha ha ha. Xiaoying looked at the crowd with a nervous expression. She didn't know what to say for a while, and her heart was full of mixed feelings. Now, she has something to say to her mother and her aunt. Alas, children have a natural liking for beauty. As soon as Miao Miao entered the room, she held on to Chu Xia's hand, tilted her head, stared straight at Chu Xia, and muttered, Grandma, I grow up. When you grow up, you have to be as good looking as your older sister. You don't need to be prettier than your older sister, just be as good looking as your older sister. Qiao Ying hurriedly said, Miao Miao, you can't call me sister, this is little aunt. What kind of generation is this child? The old lady stared at her great-grandson-in-law dumbfounded. Chu Xia is the daughter of your second elder brother and second sister-in-law, so Miao Miao has to be called elder sister. Qiao Ying's face turned red like a piece of cloth in an instant. Her mind was still in chaos, and she hadn't figured out the relationship between the big family at all. First marriage then love. Mr. Mayor, please be kind. Author, Zhao Nuan Nuan. Chapter 416. The second watch arrived. Nuan finally coded it out. Not to mention Qiao Ying, even Chu Xia has been here for a long time, and she is still a little confused about the life of the big family. Taigo's grandma is actually 4 years older than Grandpa Lin, but her seniority is solidly a generation higher. Therefore, for Chu Xia, a child who has lived in an urban family since childhood and has no relatives, it is important to think about it. It is not an easy task to understand the names of everyone. Fortunately, her memory is still good, she will firmly remember what she calls out, and as for the relationship, she will smooth it out slowly later. Qiao Ying's appearance aroused her sympathy, so she had a good impression of Qiao Ying at first, but now she feels closer, and even likes Miao Miao, so she unconsciously calls Miao Miao. Miao hugged her in her arms. Seeing her getting so close to Miao Miao, the grand aunt was even happier, and couldn't help but praise Lin Baohe again. Zhiliang, you are a well-educated child, you are good-looking, approachable, and have a sweet mouth. Such a child, wherever you go, people like you. Grandpa Lin answered with a smile, if this child wasn't so attractive, the Zhou family wouldn't be interested in it either. Sister-in-law, do you think it's reasonable? Yes, yes, yes. The old lady wiped the corners of her eyes. I'm so happy today, Sheng Hong, sister-in-law these years, always dreaming of Sheng Jun standing there watching me and not talking. When I wake up, it's only half the night. I couldn't sleep for half the night. Seeing that Zhiliang's family is so sensible now, I can put my heart back. When I get to the ground, I'm going to have a chat with Sheng Jiang. Their granddaughter looks almost exactly like their mother. Waterfall sweat. What is their granddaughter looks exactly like their mother? Chu Xia has heard this sentence countless times today, but every time she hears it, she feels like she doesn't know what to say. You don't seem very happy. Lin Wenbin, who was sitting in the corner, looked at the expressionless Jingzhe. Is there a feeling that my sister has been snatched away by many people? You think too much. Jingzhe looked at him indifferently. I just have a self-consciousness that I am an outsider and need to avoid it. You don't need to avoid it with me. Who avoided it? Lin Wenbin rolled his eyes. I am carrying forward the spirit of Lei Feng. Will you take the initiative to accompany you? Seeing that you are too lonely sitting here by yourself, because you are so good to my sister, I don't care. I'm ashamed to let you stay by yourself. You really can think more. Jingzhe looked at him knowingly. You don't know this family very well. If you don't want to join in the fun, just say it. You don't need to say that you are so great. What are you kidding? Lin Wenbin stared at him speechlessly. I'm close to the people in this family. Even if we don't see each other for a while, we still keep communicating with each other. It's my aunt's side. I almost lost contact. Back then, my grandparents were my aunts and grandparents. Guess what? They kept my grandparents for a meal. They forcibly sent off the guests. I am unfamiliar with the place, and it is impossible to find a place to live. In the end, my grandparents had no choice. So I took my dad to find an abandoned brick kiln to live in. It wasn't until our family's troubles were over that my aunt went to look for my grandparents. It is said that they are asked to live at home, and they will all return to the capital at that time. Is it worth running to her house to see her family's face? My heart was broken. When I came back, my grandparents didn't reply to the letter after receiving it. After my great-grandfather passed away, they basically broke off with that side. Now, the people over there will write back twice a year, and grandparents will also give a symbolic reply. The words used, at first glance, seemed to be polite and similar to strangers. Jingzhe patted him and said nothing. Outsiders can't persuade him about this kind of thing. Of course he knew that Lin Wenbin took the initiative to say this, not because of his personality gossip, but because he didn't want him to feel like he was an outsider and was sent out. Feel. It's not that the old lady treats him poorly, but that there are too few people in the family, and no one entertains him at all. Mrs. Lin and his wife are used to living in Songshui County, and they are unwilling to move, but their son and daughter are not in Songshui County. Their son, Qiao Wanhua, is currently the deputy governor of Shandong Province, and his wife is resident in the provincial capital. Their daughter, Qiao Wanli, is with her son-in-law Sun Ziqiang went to City A, and the only ones accompanying the old couple in Songshui County were his grandson Sun Ningjiang's family. Therefore, before Sun Ningjiang and Qiao Ying came back, only Mrs. Lin, Mr. Qiao and a nanny, Xiaja, were at home. When the old couple saw their relatives, how could they care about him, this little bean, when they were so excited? Well, it's not that they forgot him on purpose, but, at such an advanced age, it's hard for them to remember all these people all at once. Maybe he is already regarded as the driver by now. Anyway, he came with the Lin family. There was a driver and 3 bodyguards. It was normal to be misunderstood, but he didn't mind. Apparently Lin Wenbin was afraid that he would mind, so he stayed here with him all the time. Chu Xia led Xiao Miao Miao over, and the little girl stared at Jingzhe's face with her big eyes flickering for a while, then she grinned. My brother is also pretty, do you like my sister Xiaoxia? Hee hee. Chu Xia tugged at her ears amusedly. If you don't learn well at a young age, do you know what liking is? Of course I know. Miao Miao blinked her big eyes seriously. My aunt likes teacher Yang Ping from our school, and they are getting married. Chu Xia has black hair all over her head, and the child's thinking is really weird. She didn't understand from the other party's description. This has something to do with misunderstanding her relationship with Jingzhe. Jingzhe looked at Miao Miao with a smile. You still haven't explained clearly what liking is. My aunt always looks at teacher Yang Ping first and then at me. When Sister Xiaoxia and I came over just now, you also looked at Sister Xiaoxia first and then at me. This explanation sounds a little unreliable, but after careful consideration, it really makes sense. Whoever you like, must be the one whose eyes fall first. Okay, you got the answer right. I'll give you candies. Jingzhe handed her a handful of candies, and added, however, you didn't answer completely right. I'm your sister Xiaoxia's brother, of course I like her, but brother and sister cannot get married, do you understand? Understood. There was a confused look in his eyes, but his mouth answered clearly, because the sweet candy is the child's favorite. Luoya patted her head amusedly. What do you understand? I think you understand that sugar is sweet, right? Hee hee. The little girl had a piece of candy in her mouth, her right cheek was bulging, she glanced at her mother, and whispered in Chu Xia's ear, my mother always won't let me eat candy, Sister Xioxia, you and brother are so nice, I like you both. Just because we gave you candy. Yeah, the little girl nodded, and quickly added, also, you are willing to play with me and talk to me, I really like it too. Hey, my little aunt is here, and my little uncle is here too. The little girl said, got up and ran to the door. Chu Xia and the others glanced over, their expressions brightened at the same time, and they saw Che Yelai's daughter Zhang Maixiang and a gentle man walking in behind the nanny. That man, it seems, is the teacher Sun Ping that the little girl mentioned just now, with a shy smile on his face, which makes people look not annoying. Auntie! Meow meow, Zhang Maixiang yelled exaggeratedly, and hugged the little niece in her arms, walking forward with a smile on her face, and then, the smile on her face froze. After Qiao Ying married into the Qiao family, Zhang Maixiang often came to see her, and she was considered a regular visitor of the Qiao family. Seeing her in a daze, Mrs. Zhang only looked at Qiao Ying as if she was shocked by seeing so many people. Go and greet Xiao Xiang. Qiao Ying, who was chatting speculatively with Zhao Yulan, grew dizzy the moment she saw Zhang Maixiang. After listening to the old lady's order, she was not hypocritical, politely said sorry to them, and greeted Zhang Maixiang, and Yang Ping went to his room. Sister, you. After the door closed, Zhang Maixiang put down meow meow, her lips trembling, you. What's wrong with you, aunt? Meow meow looked curiously at Zhang Maixiang, who was different from usual. Are you so cold that you can't speak? Qiao Ying knew that Zhang Maixiang must have misunderstood her, so she said softly to her daughter, meow meow, you go out to play with Sister Xioxia. Mother and uncle have something to talk about, please be obedient, okay? Okay. Mom spoke to herself gently, and meow meow expressed embarrassment to refuse, and immediately went to find Chu Xia cheerfully, and in her narrow eyes, playing with the good-looking sister Xiao Xia would make her look good too of. At this moment, Zhang Maixiang's mood has stabilized a lot. When Qiao Ying came over, she breathed a sigh of relief and asked, Sister, no matter whether you have feelings for my mother or not, she is not your aunt after all. Can you promise her to help her out, but bring the person she hates the most back home? Do you think I brought them back? Qiao Ying looked at her indifferently. I'm just the granddaughter-in-law of the Qiao family. Do you think I'm qualified to bring such a large group of people home? Then, Zhang Maixiang's pupils shrank sharply. What does sister mean? Don't sister mean that they have something to do with the Qiao family? That's right, they are our old lady's natal family, to be precise, they are the descendants of our old lady's brother. Qiao Ying spread her hands. I just found out after I got home, it's just in time for you to come save me. Passing the word, tell my aunt that I can't help with her affairs, and I can't do anything to our grandma's relatives, unless my aunt doesn't want me to stay in Qiao's house any longer.